Hey everybody, this is Patti Negri. Welcome to the witching hour. Yes, that hour of the day when the veil is thin and magic happens. Now, if you're going, what's going on? Her hair is extra fluffy today. What is this pink color she's wearing? It's because of my guest today. I have the one and only, he's an author, he's a witch, he's an intuitive stylist, the Glam Witch herself, Michael Herkes. Thank you so much, Michael, for coming on.
Thank you so much for having me again. I love you. You're so fabulous.
Fabulous to fabulous. No, no. And if any of you, he's been on once before. I don't repeat a lot of guests, but we just got to spend some time together recently at Hex Fest in New Orleans. And who was the most glamorous one there? He was.
Mirror, mirror on the wall.
Well, I mean, 22 outfit changes in a day.
I know it was pretty much that, and I can't believe it's like I had two suitcases and it was not enough. They were both 80 pounds, and I don't know how the heck it all happened because I'm only wearing caftans. But sequins weighs heavy, so
Because we're
yeah. But it was about 3 to 4 outfit changes a day. So
I know, and everyone more fabulous than the last. So really, everybody, if you don't know him, we're going to give all his contact and everything, but he's somebody you actually need to know and follow because there's nobody like him on this entire universe or planet, and truly one of my favorite people. So let's get back into so everybody's going, what is a glam wish? What is this? You do have a new book coming out, correct? Do you want to talk
I
about that first?
Yes. So it's called Glamcraft. It's a really special book because it was actually supposed to be my second book. But I ended up getting a couple of different book deals to do kind of like beginner magic books and things like that. But Glamcraft is it's essentially my love letter on the art of glamour and presentation, and it's really unique too because I had complete creative control. So I not only designed the cover, but there's like wonderful illustrations inside of it. Perfect. We have examples of it there. There's photography that I was able to be the art director on and things. And I just really wanted to truly showcase what glamour magic is. And it's again, it's like a coffee table inspired book, hardcover, limited edition, only 200 copies in print. Where I think we're at like our last 50 copies that are available. So anyone is interested in it and likes this interview, go ahead and grab them because when they're gone, they're gone.
Oh, and again, everybody needs a little glamour in their life.
Absolutely, absolutely. So yeah, I wanted the book to be glamorous too, and I was so excited to. One thing that I did in it that I thought was kind of different and unique was I interviewed 6 different other authors and magical personalities that I'm friends with and know. So just to kind of give a different perspective, because of course I'm coming on and people know my kind of signature aesthetic now. It's pink, it's glittery, it's always caftans, and I'm not trying to advocate for people to be like me, right? That's my glamour. So I wanted to showcase how other people kind of can work glamour magic into their practice. So we have interviews from people like Elise Marie, the beauty witch, who talks about holistic beauty, Lilith Dorsey, who talks about voodoo and glamour magic, a friend of mine who's Hunter Vane, who does wonderful witchcraft drag portraiture online, and a couple other wonderful people. Veronica Varlow, who talks about burlesque magic, Raven Digitalis, who talks about goth magic, and then Julia Helena Hattis. We kind of construct the perfect glamour cocktail and a mocktail version of it too for those who are thirsty witches out there.
How excited, thirsty always. So, okay,
Always.
for somebody who's going, okay, I understand witchcraft and we'll go there too, but what is glamour magic?
So funny enough, glamour magic, it was originally defined in the 18th century in Scotland as a witch's magic spell. So it was literally at one point considered to be just what we all kind of do now, an act of enchantment. And it wasn't until like the 30s or so that it kind of hit Hollywood culture and it kind of became connected to Hollywood lifestyles, more aesthetic types of things. And so now today, modern witchcraft, I know we probably, if anyone has seen that wonderful movie, The Craft, I know that was definitely like a gateway movie for me when I was a baby witch. There's a scene in it where one of the girls like flashes her hands over her hair and instantly she's blonde. And I wish I could do that. But I have to go to the salon to do that. And I encourage everyone to do that. Don't bleach your hair at home. Glamour Magic is essentially using aesthetics to create positive change in your life. So use basically inner and outer makeovers, and a lot of times it's heavily influenced by your clothing, what color you're wearing, the types of fabrics that you're wearing, as well as things like fragrance and smell, jewelry, crystals, adornment, things like that.
That's beautiful. So, and again, I'm not a glamour witch at all, but I remember when I was in a low place and somebody came over and she was like kind of like coaching me, whatever. She was a fellow witch, fellow pagan. She's like, and she looks at me and I'm in my worst sweat. She's like, change your clothes right now. Change your clothes right now. Put on your best thing. It's like, no, I feel too fat. I feel too. Put them on right now. I don't care. You're going to wear these until you feel better. The second I put on something I felt better on, I felt better.
Right?
It
Isn't that funny? And so there's two things there that I want to kind of point out that I talk about in the book too. And so one of them, and this is just kind of very practical magic. I mean, it's just kind of more down to like a psychological level. But like our brain is always going to tell, like it's going to believe whatever we tell it. So if we're telling it like, oh my gosh, I don't like how I look, I feel frumpy, so I am frumpy because I feel that way, it's going to believe it. But the minute you put something on and you start to get into the ritual of taking care of yourself, like that's an aspect of self-care, like it really transforms how you feel and think. And then there's also a proven psychological term that I talk about in the book too called enclothed cognition. And it's just this study that was done that kind of showcases that the clothing that you wear has an effect on our cognition and how we perceive things. So the scientists kind of did it where they experimented with lab coats and how people like where they were wearing a lab coat, when they wore it, they felt like they were a little bit more confident and they felt like they had more power because people perceived them in that way. So I think that that's kind of cool. I always kind of think that magic in some ways is it's science that hasn't been proven yet. And so I love finding elements of magic that are like actually proven things that we've seen in the world.
Oh, that is true. I mean, again, coming from an acting background, what a costuming can do or a mask can do. Acting 101, you do mask work because then you get to be somebody else or something else. So even if it's just glamming up, costuming up yourself, it makes perfect sense.
Yeah, I love that you threw that in there too, because that's a component that I talk about as well. And it's the art of creating a persona, right? So, like, you get that from like the acting perspective. And sometimes people might think, because I say too, a lot of times I kind of see incorrect information online and things that glamour magic is illusionary, it's trickery, right? But I look at it as more as like, an illusion that starts with an A because you're alluding to something that already exists. So think like Halloween, acting costumes and things like that, cosplay. I mean, when you take on these types of roles, when you start dressing for like the way that you want to present, you take on this kind of character along with it. And that can be very, very beneficial in like and not only building up your self-confidence and like allowing you to express yourself with fashion, but it can also be used as a wonderful mask or a decoy that allows you to push away negativity or challenge and power through difficult times, or get a date or get a job or all of these other wonderful things. And so all of that kind of gets tied back up into the art of glamour.
I love it. I love it. So which came first, the chicken or the egg? Were you like this glamour guy who found witchcraft and magic, or a magical guy who, or did they come along together?
Oh my gosh. So it's been a teeter-totter type of a thing. I mean, so I grew up an only child of a single mother in the south suburbs of Chicago. And I always wore like lots of I just ever since I can remember, I was very much attracted to just witches on TV and television and things like that. As well as just like feminine power. In some kind of a way. So I would wear a lot of like my mom's like big t-shirts and like go around the house as like, oh, they're dresses. But actually now as an adult, I'm like, that was my mini version of a caftan. But so I loved fashion. I was always kind of my family would always say, oh, you're Mr. Fashion. Like I would always give out the fashion advice in the house. And then I got into witchcraft, of course, with the glamorization of it in Hollywood during the late '90s, seeing The Craft, Charmed, Buffy, things like that. And I was hitting junior high and just figuring out who I was. So I wanted to find like a sense of empowerment. And when I saw witchcraft and Wicca and things like that, I just was like, ooh. like that's what I see on television. What's that all about? And I loved it. It really gave me a sense of empowerment. And then immediately after high school, I landed a job at the infamous Glamour Shots portrait studio, where I was not only like the lead photographer, but I would help out with makeup and things like that. And I loved it. And at the time, I wasn't really too aware of it, right? I was just a young witch, but like I didn't realize that truly like my power was in glamour. People would come in, I would get them all dressed up. They would go in front of the camera feeling so, uncomfortable and leave feeling so badass and so excited about how their image came to life through the lens of my eye. And then it just kind of continued on from there, with fashion and witchcraft evolving into my life until I wrote my first book. Or actually, before all of that, I went to my first Hex Fest and reconnected with our friend Fiona Horn, and got a job working at Witch Way magazine. And then that led to the various books and me creating this persona of the Glam Witch. So it is a brand, but it's also this persona and this glamour that I've created for myself over time, that have worked together in some kind of way.
That's beautiful. And yes, and Fiona's pretty glamorous herself.
Yes, she's the original Glam Witch. I mean, I give all my credit to her. That's my literary high priestess over there.
No, no, no. And again, I have several of your books that aren't. And look at these are like used books. I've got notes. Your
Love
life
it.
skills book, your witchcraft for daily self care. Again, and they lead towards glamour in themselves because this is about self care and love and lightening up. So, what do you think? So, if my people who are tuning in, video or audio, whatever, and they're going, "Oh, I'm not glamorous. I can't do a pretty sequins like that. I can't puff out my hair. This is so funny. This is not me. I love it." So what do you suggest? How can somebody do like is baby steps to do? Is it like the person told me just take off your sweats, or is it in from the inside out? Outside, do you do like spell work and have people do ritual and stuff? Or
Yeah, it's a little bit of all of that. I mean, there's definitely like, and it's funny because I just was talking to somebody about this the other day. It's kind of like which comes first, the chicken or the egg, when it comes to your internal confidence versus your external appearance. Because you have to kind of jump into both at the same time, right? Because on one hand, it's a lot of times the feedback that you're getting on your appearance that helps boost your confidence. But also at the same time, it's that inner confidence that's just like, you know what, screw it. I'm going to get out of my own way and I'm going to try something new. So one of the tools that I've used when I've taught classes on glamour before is that kind of idea of building an alter ego, building a persona. So any of our young social media witches out there, if you're familiar, there's usually an Instagram, Facebook thing that goes around once a year where you create a collage of the 3 characters that are you. I kind of use that as a reference. So kind of look at like some of the different characters or archetypes that you like. It doesn't even have to be like, actors, actresses. It could be tarot cards. You can pull like 3 different tarot cards that you really want to embody, gods or goddesses, things like that. And kind of collage them together into this alter ego. And how you do that is, examine them. Think about what it is that you actually admire about them. What qualities you already have within yourself. What parts of their story resonate with you. That's really, really important because that helps put you into the mix of it, right? And then you think about the aspects that they don't have, like that you don't have that they have, right? And how you can kind of find ways within your personality or maybe a strength in one of the other characters that can help pull that through. So in one way, Glamour Magic is definitely kind of the magical equivalent of fake it till you make it. But at the same time, it's creative and it's exciting because you can create these different characters and morph them together and definitely use, different like visualization techniques. And what I mean by that is like, so when you kind of have your favorite character in mind, you think, oh my gosh, okay, well, I'm visualizing myself in the real world as this person. So as an example, like in Glamcraft, I talk about the Glam Witch persona. I did the same thing, and I had 3 different characters that kind of morphed together into one. One that I think might be the most common that everyone would know is Carrie Bradshaw from the infamous Sex and the City and that reboot of it like that. I loved her. grew up watching it as a teenager, and she was a writer in a big city surrounded by fashion. And that's exactly what I now live as my life. So sometimes I'm running around town and I'm visualizing myself, oh, as Carrie in the show. I'm that character energy that's going on right now, and this is what I'm doing. And so that helps create this glamour as well.
Ah, I love it. And who doesn't love who didn't wanna be Carrie Bradshaw? Really, this independent, beautiful woman. So I have a how with we looking at and we look at media and we look at Hollywood and
Mhm.
you look at, here's 3 pictures or 3 ideas of what I wanna be. How do we get past the part, "But I'm not 6'2" and 102 pounds and 12 years old?" How do we turn it
So
into our glamour?
So one thing is, so one of the really important tools of Glamour Magic is mirrors, right? Mirrors are a very magical tool just in their own right, and they amplify energy, or they reflect it or deflect it. And every single one of us on a daily basis looks at our reflection. Oftentimes, it's the first thing that we do when we get out of bed, and guarantee, because I'm guilty of it on some days too, we wake up and we're immediately like, oh, I'm not, which is like the 6'2". I'm not 150 pounds.
Yeah,
Oh, I have this pimple here today. I'm so ugly. XYZ.
yeah.
But when you're doing that, if you're a magical person, you're started to kind of work, and it doesn't even matter if you're a baby witch and you're starting out. Um, Once you start to kind of get in that mental flow of magic, our thoughts do create our realities. They just really do. And after a certain point, you don't necessarily need the spells and rituals that you might need in the beginning. Literally, just a thought and something can happen. And so when you're a witch and you're leading with your magical mind, and the first thing you do is look at yourself in the morning and call yourself ugly in some kind of a way, you're literally casting a curse on yourself. Basically, you're literally wanting the world to see it that way. So I always say, kind of like, flip the script, flip the perspective. Yeah, I'm not 6'2". No, I don't have like these ripped muscles and things like that. But you know what? I love my eyes and I have gorgeous fucking hair. And I love this about me and this about me. And that's what I'm going to focus on in this reflection right now. And then every time I pass my reflection throughout the day, really focus on those different aspects. Now, of course, there's other things that you can do as well. You can do different spells and rituals to kind of help build that confidence. So one of them would be, of course, to take maybe like a pink, like a hot pink or an orange candle, because both of those would represent confidence in some kind of a way. You can kind of then anoint that candle with, I'd say maybe like rose oil, or even maybe some ginger or orange. Throw on some like dried rose petals or something. Light it. Light it between you and your reflection, and literally speak about all of the positive things that you want to bring out. Or like a banishing that you could do is, if you were to do like a bath magic spell, get a black bath bomb and maybe some like essential oils that are safe for the skin that represent banishing, like a little bit of like rosemary or lemon.
Mhm.
Put that into the bath, have a black candle going, and get a black not permanent, a black washable marker, and kind of write the things that you don't like about your physical appearance on your body. Get into the bath, turn off all the lights so it's just that black candle going. Um, and and really in that moment, sit in that cauldron of darkness and wash off all of the things that you don't like. Once that candle is expired, you're completely surrounded in darkness. Let it all out, scrub it all off, let it drain down. And then as soon as you're done, dry off and fumigate yourself with some beautiful rose incense. And so those are just kind of some simple, practical, glamoury, magical rituals that you might want to do if you're kind of struggling on like, how do I up my appearance? How do I, kind of move beyond the imposter syndrome, the self-doubt, the trauma, the negative things. But at the same time, when we do our magic, we also have to act practically. So I always say too that it's very healthy to have a therapist and kind of do that real actual shadow work. The real life stuff, on top of all of the magical stuff, because they have to work in tandem together.
You have to wear, oh my god, I just fallen in love with your writing on your body with a non-permanent marker.
Yes, with a non-permanent
And you
marker.
see it wearing off my flabby arms or whatever that is. Because I do a lot of simple, like I'll have carved soap or put it Sharpie or soap
Yeah.
in the beauty bath, or I'll charm my mirror, I'll charm the toothpaste and things like that. Put the mat, but I have never even thought of writing the stuff that you just want to let go and you wash it off.
Yes.
Haha, I can't wait to go take a bath.
Right? It's the best. I love baths and bath magics. It's funny, like just kind of side note, like I just recently moved into a new apartment and I was looking at some and they didn't have baths. It was just showers. And I was like, we can't do that because I love my baths. That's my cauldron. I get to be an ingredient in there. It's fabulous.
Yeah, I know. Great big old water cauldron. I use Commode's toilets that way too. It's like everybody has a great big water cauldron. You can do all sorts of things.
Exactly.
Ah, so you actually do like glamour makeovers for people, right? What does that
Yeah,
mean?
I have some. So a lot of times, well, it kind of depends on the specific client. So sometimes it's just a matter of us kind of having a consultation and maybe looking at their astrological chart and kind of seeing, what part of what I call their glam astrology, what aspects of their birth chart, like could it really help make their most unique selves. We can also do tarot readings that kind of showcase kind of where you need to go. Other people just kind of want advice, so we kind of talk about, okay, well, what is it that you're looking for in your life right now? How can we incorporate those things into your appearance? So a lot of times it's very basic, use of color magic, so that's really important within glamour. If you're looking to bring in love in your life, wear reds and pinks somewhere in your complete aesthetic. And people get freaked out by that because people love their signature colors, and we know witches love wearing all black. And sometimes it's even just as simple as wearing like an underwear. It doesn't have to be seen, but as long as you have it actively on you and you're moving out and it's out there in the world, that's one way to kind of help stimulate all of that. So we kind of like examine those types of things. And then I've had clients too that kind of want to have like a whole lookbook. Like we talk about kind of the things that work for them, practical level, like what shapes they want to wear, things like that. And then I'll kind of go and I'll kind of do some like research and give them some ideas on things. And so that's kind of one of the ways that I kind of do these magical makeovers. And it all started with just me loving going shopping with friends and being like, this is what we'll do here. This will look great on you here for this reason. Oh, you're trying to like bring in money. Well, you're gonna need this gold like outfit over here, or this gold charm bracelet. I just see that being something that's like gonna be working good for you. So yeah.
So it's like what a stylist does, but you're coming from
Yeah,
a magical perspective as well as a
exactly.
fashion perspective. And
Yeah.
who doesn't know that? I love that you mentioned underwear and color. Um,
Yes.
I'm just launching my power panties. I've actually been doing this for like literally 20 years. I have been telling people I work because I work with Hollywood people, whether it's an A-list celebrity or what, I'm going, okay, you have a really important interview or something, wear this color panty, wear this color blue, picture
Yep.
this sigil or this symbol, this words, do a 30-second spell. And for literally 2 decades, and now with the print on demand, it's like, well, just do it. So I have my Patty's Power Panties and they
I
come
love
with
it. Yes. I'm
again,
getting
it's
pink ones.
fashion, and they all have magical sigils and symbols. They're all aligned with the color. They all come with a really simple spell, boys, girls, everything in between. And it is so important. I've always, and I have so many people before I even had this, you could do your own, of course. It's like, okay, have this color panty or this, because it's your most intimate place you're putting clothes on, and
Absolutely.
whatever you wear on the outside, it's just pure magic, and you put that intent into it. So that's awesome.
Absolutely. And it doesn't stop with clothes either. It can literally be your jewelry, right? So the different crystals, we all love our crystals, right, as witches, and the energy that they exude. And 9 times out of 10, I mean, there's so many crystals out there, but 9 times out of 10, like if you know your color magic and your symbolism of colors, the color is going to line with what that crystal is. So I always tell people, like, don't get so freaked out if you really like are needing this. Like if you wanted to bring in like luck into your life, a gold type of a crystal is probably going to be really, really great for you. Love, pinks will be great. Sexuality, passion, the red stones are there for you, or like the deeper oranges and things like that. Um, but yeah, that's definitely a part of it too. And then even like I love that you talked about sigils, because that's something that can be done as well, where for anybody that doesn't know kind of what a sigil is, it's a magical symbol that you create. And so there's a couple of different means to do it, but you can even literally take like a Sharpie and write it into your tag on your clothing. Or if you really want to get creative, get a needle and a thread and stitch it into the lining of your clothing. Or I always say for success, put a bay leaf in your shoe, because they're for success, and then you're walking in success for the whole day.
It's beautiful. I love it. And I love the simplicity of simple magic that shifts everything. It shifts your mindset, which is the first thing you have to do. It has the magic of that color, herb, oil, whatever you're doing, and then stepping into it. So
But and I love real quick, just real quick, like I that you I love that you said simple magic, because that's something too that I've seen a lot of people when they talk about glamour magic. Like some people think it's like super hard, but it's something that like we literally do on a daily basis, right? Like we dress to impress. If you're going for a job interview, you dress a certain way to go and get that. If you're out here trying to sell a book or do something like that, you dress a certain way to meet the audience. It's advertising and marketing 101. And you know, once you kind of work on your glamour, like in your appearance, and it builds your confidence. Your self-expression builds your confidence. And the more confident we are as witches, the more magical we are. It's like, yes, our clothing, our tools, we love all of our tools, our crystals and things like that. But at the end of the day, we truly are our most powerful tool, and glamour is definitely one route to get there and to really tap into the power of you and your uniqueness. So I just want to share that.
thank you. No, that is beautiful. So if somebody's going, okay, I need this. I'm like lost in my whatever. And I know your one book is again witchcraft for self-care. Is there
Mhm.
any like good starter things for people that they could add either ritual wise or just idea or thought pattern wise that they could, just start to get something into their life?
Yeah, I think it's again, it's going to be something very, very simple. It can just be literally taking like a little 5 minute break, a little 5 minute meditation in the day. I think unfortunately, like the way the society is in our world right now, like we overwork.
Yeah.
We work. We have all these different responsibilities, and we just are expected to go, 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 and think that self care is not something that we have time for. But at the end of the day, if we look at the idea that witches, we are to be of service within the world, we can't, just like a car, if a car is out of gas, it ain't gonna get you nowhere, right? So
Yeah.
you have to take a minute to step back, refill, rejuice, and focus on yourself. It's important. Again, like think about airplanes. They always stress, you have to take care of you before you can help your neighbor. And so that's one of the ways that I look at self-care. And so a very easy beginner step to it all is just literally trying to find like a 5 minute moment in your day that you can just relax, focus on your breathing. Breathing techniques are very, very important.
Mhm.
And just close your eyes and drift off. You can think about anything. You don't have to fully like have a whole out of body experience. I think even myself early on, I struggled with meditation because I had a thought of like how it should go, but it's really just turning off the brain for a minute and
Mhm.
tuning into yourself. Smell what's around you, listen to what's around you, and literally kind of get lost in the sensory moment that you're experiencing. And that is, I think, the best starter.
Beautiful, beautiful. So again, yeah, it is inside to out and outside to in, and you meet in the middle. Because you could see
Yeah.
somebody put on the finest outfit, but it's still on the inside if they're just not there. It's like there's
Oh
something.
yeah, I said absolutely 100%. I love that you brought that up. It is true. And you see, I call it faux real, FAUX real. Are you for real? And just this kind of idea that, you know, number one, again, kind of fake it till you make it, but also don't come across looking like you're faking it, if that makes sense. Like there's a fine line between it. So, and of course we do see it. We see the people that are, everything that society would kind of represent as like the most beautiful thing going on, but the lights are on, but no one's home. Essentially, they're not like in control, or there's no power behind it. And then you have somebody that can kind of come in, and it doesn't even matter what they look like because they're just absolutely charming you with their presence. That is glamour. That is a skill where you can walk into a room and you turn heads like that. And it really doesn't matter what you're wearing because you just possess this energy. And that's where that internal is coming out. And you can meet it in the middle. You can throw on some extra sparkly, wonderful things to draw attention in. And kind of circling back now that it's on my mind to something we had talked about earlier of people kind of like, if you're a little afraid of kind of stepping out of your comfort zone and trying to do glamour magic, Another thing I like to remind myself is that everything is energy, right? So if somebody, I had a wonderful interaction with a lovely spiritual person that I love dearly, Hudson Like, earlier this year at a retreat. And we had to talk about if someone gives you something, right? If they're giving you a gift, if it's hate, let's say that they're giving you an ugly stare or something like that, you can simply just say, no, thank you. And that is no longer yours. It goes right back to them. So don't take on the negativities of the world, or just look at it this way: that's energy. They're using it in a negative way, but find a way to take that energy and use it towards your goal. So one of the reasons why I'm always very, I'll use the term extra in my clothing and my appearance, with the sequins and the caftans and the bright colors and the shimmers. Well, one, sequins, it's a mirror, it's reflective, right? So it's going to sparkle and bring attention in, but at the same time, it's going to reflect negativity back out. So that's one of the reasons why like fabric choices can be really important in your glamour magic. But also because when someone turns to me and they're like, oh my God, I love your outfit, or they look at me from across the street and they're like, ew, that's all energy. And I can take that and use that to help stimulate and further my other spells, if that makes sense to you.
Yeah.
So if you're kind of brand new to witchcraft, when you do a spell, which is essentially a prayer with some extra added effects, you you do this part where you raise energy. And so I like to raise energy after the spell to keep that spell alive. And I do that by wearing my clothing. I'll continue to wear the color that's associated with what I want, or just kind of put on a lot of really extra things to get that attention, and then use that energy to further stimulate my goals and my intentions. So get out of your head. Screw the people that are like going to say negative things to you. Find ways to flip the script and use that power for yourself.
Yes, I'm ready. I'm ready to get my glamour wand and go there.
Absolutely.
Ah, so, this is fabulous. You guys check it out, and I can't wait. I'm going to check out that new book, and I
Yeah,
love all your other books. You have a lot of different books out there and stuff. So,
I do. And I'm literally, I have to turn one in the next 2 weeks for Llewellyn, which is, it's going to be on this idea of glamstrology and using your astrological chart to create the most unique, powerful expression of you with the cosmos. So it's it's hopefully going to be out around like this time next year. So everybody keep an eye out for that. I did like a little preview class of it at HexFest, and everyone was super excited. So it's been a really fun book to read. I can't wait for it to come into life.
oh yeah, I can't wait to get it too. Says Llewellyn, I'll get it. Yay.
Yes.
So all right. So now my friends and my everybody watching and listening is very intrigued. So before we go, tell people if you have anything coming up they could see you at, or where they can find you online, website, social media, et cetera, et cetera.
Cool. So my website is www.theglamwitch.com. It's the best central source for you to go to. It's going to have links to all of my books, so that you can go ahead and purchase those. It's also going to have links to all of my social media, because we know now that we have so many imposters out there who are ripping people off, and we don't want that. Even with those blue check marks and stuff like that, we still get them. So if you're ever in doubt, just go to my website. It links to all of my information, all of my upcoming events, and all of that good stuff. The only thing that I have that I'm kind of know about right now that I can talk about is WitchCon. So it's put on again by Christian Day and Brian Kane, who do HexFest. And I believe it's in March of next year. But if you just go to witchcon.com, you can get your tickets. And I'm teaching a class on glamstrology, actually. So you'll get another little preview of that there.
I love that. Okay. I don't remember if I was doing WitchCon or not. I did it first year. I missed it last year, and my dog's going crazy. I apologize.
Hi.
That's Willow. She's
Hi,
glamorous. She's
Willow.
a glamorous dachshund.
Yes,
Um,
he needed to be in on the magic here.
and I love that you had astrology. I am not. I love astrology. Doesn't work in my brain. It's like too mathematical for me or something.
Same.
So
And so the funny thing is like I hate math. I really can't do it. Like it is the like, ooh, no. Yeah, I could put me on an island and I think I can survive, but doing a math is not for me. But like it took me going to an actual astrologer that was able to break it down into more like smaller fundamental parts, where I was able to get it. And so I do have just kind of like a beginner's astrology guide for witches. That's one of my books that is out there if anyone's
oh,
interested.
good.
That's
Oh,
a lovely book
one
to kind
too.
of just to kind of like look at it a little bit differently because we can get psyched out on it, right? Too, and it's because even just astrologers, like award-winning astrologers that have been studying it for their entire life, there's still stuff they don't know because there's so many. Like for everything, there's like another 100 things if you like go down that route. But with witchcraft, we don't necessarily need to go down all of those different avenues. But
Right.
when we do know some of the important pieces, it just helps our magic because it's a part of magical timing, which is very, very important. Like, I'll share just very, very quickly if we have time, but like,
Yeah.
I wasn't paying attention to astrology when this book came out, and it came out during Mercury retrograde. And there was every problem in the name of the earth that came with this book. The printers like released it all with damaged stuff. It slowed down the release of everything. And it's just kind of one of those things where it's like, I really should have because I know better. So now like I have to really like pay attention to like all of the different retrogrades and what the planets are doing because they really do have an effect on us. And as witches who work with energy sources, we should be able to kind of tap into that a little bit and know a little better.
Yes, yes. So I'm gonna have to go get your book. Anyway, you guys check him out, Michael Herkes. You are one of my just favorite people on the planet. Now that I've actually got to meet you. So you guys follow him, check him out, go to his website, check out his books. You can get them. I can't wait to get the new one. And everybody add some glamour. So thank you, Michael.
Thank you so much, Patty.
Ah.